The Peavey 5150 is a classic metal amplifier that has been used on countless records and used live by countless bands, and I guarantee you, whether you know it or not, it is something a lot of you have heard on metal records or seen at live shows before. What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Taylor, and I do all sorts of guitar related stuff like this. On my channel. If that's something you enjoy, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing while you're here. Now, I've made some videos on the Peavey 5150 in the past. It is an excellent amplifier. It has been used by tons of bands, live and on records. Probably way too many to list, but some of my favorites are 𝐂𝐄𝐋 and 𝐂𝐇𝐀. And the red chord. And a lot of times when people use this head, they pair it with a Mesa oversized cabinet. If you have a favorite album or band that you've seen using this combination, let me know about it in the comments. So what I want to do today is plug in my old school block letter head to my Mesa oversized cabinet. I'm going to play through it, show you guys some tones, and then compare it to a super budget option amplifier, which is one of these little Joyo VIVO band amps. And that way you can see how much difference there is in between something like this and the real head powering an actual 4x12 cabinet that's mic'd up. And then at the end of the video, what I thought I'd do, since I'm always doing these like sort of shootout comparison things in my videos, is we'll compare the full analog signal, meaning the 5150 head going through a real Mesa 4x12 cabinet being mic'd up with an SM57, and we'll compare that full analog signal chain to some digital signal chains in the Axe-FX3, the Pod Go, the GE250, and the Hot Tone Ampero. But before we can do any of that, I need to talk to you guys about today's sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid is an online distribution service that I personally use to distribute all of my band's music to Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much any online music platform you can think of. DistroKid also has a bunch of tools and services on their website, and one of my favorites to use is the hyperfollow feature. What hyperfollow does is it gives you a landing page, and then you can share that landing page to all of your different social media accounts, allowing people to pre-save your release on Spotify. It's a really awesome tool, and if you're not great at marketing, it just makes the whole process a lot easier and a lot more manageable. You don't have to pay anything extra to use hyperfollow. It is included with your DistroKid membership. So if you are looking for a way to distribute your music online, you can go down into the description below, click on the link, you'll save 7%, and you'll be helping the channel. All right, with that out of the way, let's get this rig hooked up and see how metal it really is. What's up guys? I am here plugged into my old school block letter Peavey 5150. This amplifier has seen a lot in its life. I have my settings set the way that I like them, and we are running it through this Mesa oversized 4x12 cabinet, and I am miking it up with an SM57. The microphone is on the edge of the cap where it meets the cone. This is what it sounds like. All right, now there's a few reasons that I think this combination of equipment is so popular amongst metalheads and has been on so many metal albums. Number one, up until really recently, this head was super affordable. 5150s, 5152s, 6505s would sell all day for $600 on the used market. I actually picked this one up for $400 a few years ago, and it just makes having a super awesome tone affordable, even for a lot of budget guitar players. Now, while this isn't the most versatile amp in the world, when you are looking for that ear-piercing, high-gain, monstrous tone, this hits the mark. It's a very distinct, very recognizable tone, and when you pair it with an oversized Mesa 4x12 like this and get a lot of that extra low end, it really just makes it sound monstrous. Now, assuming you have never played one of these before, I'm just gonna walk you through the settings and just show you how much tonal variation that this amp has. We'll start with the low end. So you can see, even though there's not a dramatic amount of tonal variation going on with this amp, everything sounds really balanced and smooth even when you push it to the extremes. Which actually might be another reason that this amp is so popular, is because it's so easy to dial in. I mean, literally, you just plug into this amp and you will be up and chugging within minutes. And lastly, it is worth mentioning, since I can't really demonstrate this to you through a video, but the feeling of playing this amp is really nice. It's super responsive, everything feels really smooth. Sometimes you'll hear guitar players referring to an amp as being too dry, which means they have to strum really hard and they have to push it really hard to get a response out of the amplifier, but that's not an issue with the 5150 at all. And for those of you new to guitar playing, and especially those of you who are looking to get your first tube amplifier or to get your first metal rig, you really can't go wrong with a 5150 and a Mesa 4x12. This combo specifically sounds really great. Okay, so now what I thought I would do, since the price of 5150s has gone up so dramatically over the last 6 months or so, I thought it might be kind of cool to plug in a Joyo VIVO, which is Joyo's lunchbox version of this amplifier, and plug it into the same cabinet, same mic configuration, everything, and that way you can hear what a small budget option sounds like by comparison. All right, I have the Joyo VIVO Bant amp plugged in, and if you guys want to see a more in-depth review on this amp, I will link that up here. The cabinet microphone configuration is the same, and this is what it sounds like. So while these two amps do sound similar, I can just tell you, sitting here playing through them, there is a world of difference in terms of the feel and just the way that it sounds in the room. I don't know how well that's translating through the video, but the distortion character of the 5150 amp is much, much smoother than the distortion character of the VIVO Bant amp. Obviously, another drawback with the VIVO Bant amp is only having the one tone control knob. I feel like you are either sacrificing top end or low end, which can be remedied to an extent by using a graphic EQ pedal or something like that in the effects loop of the Bant amp. And then lastly, and this should probably go without saying, but a 20 watt Class D power amp is not going to push a cabinet like this nearly as well as a full-size 120 watt tube amp. But all of those things aside, if you're a bedroom musician or you are just trying to power a smaller cabinet, I think that the Joyo VIVO is a really great affordable solution for that classic 5150 style tone. Okay, now the last thing I want to do, wait for it, is shoot out the 5150 in a mix. And what I want to do in this shootout is I want to compare the full analog signal chain to the digital signal chain from some really popular modelers that you've probably seen on my channel. Now, normally when I would do one of these shootouts, I would compare them all with the same IR. And if that's something you want to see, I will link you to this video up here. But in this video specifically, what I want to see is I want to see how each modeler goes about recreating this classic setup. All right, let's get to the demo. Alright guys, what do you think of this combination of amplifier and cabinet? Do you think that it lives up to the hype? And more importantly, why do you think so many bands use it live and on their albums? Let me know down in the comments below. Like I mentioned, I think that there's a few factors that go into why this is such an iconic combination of amplifier and cabinet. The first one, and this applies more to the 5150 than the Mesa cab, but really up until recently, the 5150 and all of the amps that came after it, being, you know, the 5152 and the 6505 that Peavey made, were very affordable amps. As a matter of fact, when Eddie Van Halen was developing this amp with Peavey, that was one of the main motivations, was to make an amp that sounded awesome, but came in a really affordable package. The second really important factor is that both of these pieces of gear are workhorses, meaning that bands know that if they take these pieces of equipment on tour, it's very unlikely that they're gonna have any issues with their gear. And then the third and probably most important thing is the tone. For whatever reason, this cabinet and this head just sound fantastic together for metal. I think all of those reasons combined are why this amp and cabinet are so popular and why they've persevered and been iconic for such a long time. Special thanks to all my awesome patrons for helping me bring you videos like this one. And if you're interested in joining my Patreon account, there's a link for that in the description below. And if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.